Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. So glad you could all make it. Hello, Maybell. All right. So glad that there's so many of you here. I don't know who Lady D is. I am Ms. Sherry Weems. You read the second part of the discovery. Is no longer available. You must submit a written notice. So, luckily, that some of that information was already privy to some people. And so some of that information already got leaked out. And yeah, we're going to finish talking about this document because I recently just finished up reading the rest of the 1,960 pages after sort of cramming it all in over the weekend. Last weekend, we did our live show on Tuesday and we had a really good discussion about it. So it sort of gave me a break to take my time in finishing up the last, couple hundred pages. So I am just wanting to sort of discuss with you guys sort of some of those points and some of that information, such as, for instance, the lawyer that Shanann had sat down with a friend, and that happened that was actually March or April of 2018. So Shanann was sort of, I don't know why you keep saying welcome, Lady D, Maybell. I don't know who that is. Canadian A. Thanks, Dana. Yes, so true. Hey, Percy. Hey, Tracy. Thanks for the compliment. Hi, Robin. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Hi, Mike. Hi, Alan. Hi, Giles. Chris, Ken, everybody, thank you for joining. It's so great to have you all here. So for those of you who did spend some time going through that document, which boy, was it ever a lot of information, right? Hard to sort of wrap your mind around so much of it, but nice to see how the investigation panned out, the entire process. Hi, Dulcie. So I thought it was very interesting that Shanann was literally sitting down to talk with this Hamza lawyer, Mr. Hamza. And, she was sort of inquiring as to what the laws are in the state of Colorado. Dana, why are you saying, oh, hi, Lady D? I don't know who that is. There's Lady D in here. Oh, there is a Lady D in there? Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, I do see her now. Sorry, she was responding to you. I'm sorry. Blonde moment. That happens to me. Let's be realistic. Regardless. So, how many of you guys paid attention to the fact that Shanann sat down with a lawyer and was sort of discussing what the Colorado laws are as far as um, parental sort of splitting the custody and things like that? So, I thought it was interesting. It seems as if Shanann sort of thought it was possibly the beginning of the end for some things. And, it was interesting that she was sort of looking into that, sitting down with a lawyer and sort of talking that out a little bit. I thought that that was really, really interesting. I kind of wish that she had followed through and gone through with that process because she could very well still be alive if she had made a few different choices, right? I am going to try to, you love the blonde moments. I am going to try to juggle today to try to answer some questions back and forth and just have this discussion. How many of you noticed um, the multiple affairs that Chris had had in just the short amount of time that the investigators were investigating, right? Haley Ferris was a name that came up. Amanda was another name that came up. And, I think that it's interesting that's just what came up right when we found out. What else happened before, in the past 8 years of his relationship with her? I'm sure that Shanann, had some of those ups and down feelings of this isn't working or something's wrong, something's off, and, maybe not exactly knowing what that was. But let's face it, Chris Watts was pretty good at deceiving her too, right? He was really good at hiding things. He had that that calculator app where it looks like a calculator when you open it, but it's actually used for hiding, images, hiding conversations, hiding text, pictures, whichever, right? So he was very aware of covering his tracks. He was very aware during his dating, courting time with Nichol Kessinger that he had to monitor how he was paying for their dates. He was using gift cards because he couldn't spend their money that Shanann and the kids and everybody needed in the household for on a regular basis. He couldn't go and use that kind of money to go and hang out with Nichol, right? And well, like to date her, using her own money, that's probably never going to happen, right? So regardless, now something that keeps puzzling me is the fact that there is no other discussion or talk about that cab ride on Monday. The cab charge that Chris has no idea where it came from. Um, it wasn't Shanann because Shanann was out for dinner with, her friends, and they're the ones who dropped her off at the airport. So he was a true playboy, Dana says. No kidding. But I would like to know where that charge came from. I would really like to know who took that cab ride. I'd really like to know if Nichol Kessinger was at the house that night. I would also really, really, really like to know what the 51-minute conversation was between Nichol and Chris Monday, August 13th at 11 p.m. What did they talk about for close to an hour? I'm wondering. Could it have been anything in regards to this case? Could it have been in regards to, what had happened or what was happening or what, right? Da, 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 da. I think the weight loss gave him confidence. I think the weight loss combined with the temptation of a younger, whatever woman Nichol was for him, that combined together definitely created for him to turn away from his marriage and his relationship. So a couple of questions I still had after I had finished reading it, and the cab ride was the top one, and then the conversation that happened between Nichol and Chris was another question that I had about wondering, oh yes, Annie, I see your 2017 question marks right away. I know what you're talking about. Isn't it ironic that Nichol, searching for Shanann Watts in 2017, like, and they're trying to delete these things thinking that these are never going to get found. Are you serious? Hey, Carol, you made it. Hi, Paisley. Hi, Magnum. Nobody is good enough for Chris's mom. Yes, I've dated men like that where their mothers are, you cannot please them. They are just, they think their way, they have their own ways, and they're set so much in them they don't even care what your ways are. They don't even have a minute to respect that. It's unfortunate. I have dated men like that, and it's sad because it puts a wedge in between the family together. Like, this is our family, we're trying to be a family, and now we have a wedge between your family and our family, and nobody's working together, and it's just it's setting it up for failure, in my opinion. The only thing that Chris Watts's parents and family should have been doing was accepting who he chose to marry, and trying to abide how they would like to raise their children, because it wasn't their decision anymore, right? So last night I was on live chat with another gal I subscribed to, and she was playing the video of him backing his truck up. I do have copy of that actually, and you can see. So it was the neighbor beside him. In earlier videos, for whatever reason in my mind, I had it that it was the neighbor across the street, but it was the neighbor beside him. So you can see the camera is facing down towards their own vehicles in their parking lot, but right beside there, you can see Chris Watson backing his truck up and walking to and fro the garage. So Catherine says Chris Watts had a cancer growth on him. Shanann had him go to the doctor and have it removed, and it was cancer. She saved the evil man's life. Yeah, I did read that, and I thought that I honestly thought throughout the entire process that Shanann really did love Chris. As much as she may have been fed up with him or irritated with him or the finances, for whatever reason that she chose to not, I don't want to say not respect, but I just kind of, she seemed to get frustrated and fed up in the sense of, kind of name calling, but lightly, kind of undermining him, but lightly, you know what I mean? So, like, to each their own. Every relationship is different, and the people that are in each relationship know what they are okay and not okay with. And I think his mistake was not telling her what he did or didn't like. And there was sort of a miscommunication in that sense, and their relationship fell apart, I think, due to that. And they ended up focusing on raising their children and their home and how they were going to maintain paying the bills and stuff like that, instead of themselves. But throughout the entire investigation, you guys, you can see Shanann repeatedly sort of turning towards searching for how to fix her relationship, or counseling services or vacations to take together to kind of rekindle life together, things like that. You're going to go. Sorry, Percy, were you saying something and I missed what you said? I will scroll and check. I didn't think I missed anything from you. But if you are headed out, I did see your wow comment. If you're headed out, I hope you're having a great day, a great rest of the weekend, and stay warm wherever you are. Amber Fry was a victim. She lived in another town. She had no idea Scott was married. She did not try to hide anything. As a matter of fact, she helped catch him. Yeah, you know what? That whole situation is different all in itself. I mean, it has some similarities to Scott Peterson case, but Nichol was clearly, she knew what she was doing was wrong. She knew she was with a married man, and maybe she didn't know that Shanann was pregnant, but all the rest of her knowledge should have prevented her from continuing to see Chris Watts. But she ignored that, right? Love doesn't self-destruct. We choke it with unkind words. We starve it with empty promises. We poison it with toxic blame. We break it by trying to bend it to our will. No love does not die on its own. We kill it. Yeah, you know what? That's a really good point, Phil. Hi, Tammy. Glad you could make it. And so the cab ride that was on the 13th, though, like there was no reason for Shanann Watts to be in a cab. So that was not her charge. You know what I mean? It had to be something else that he knows more about than what he's stating. Percy is a friend of mine outside of YouTube and stuff, so he just popped in, I think, to kind of check me out, see what I'm doing, and whatever. Don't worry about it, Tracy. It's fine. He probably did already leave anyways. We chat you know outside of this, so you didn't miss me, and my apologies, you guys, again for changing the times, but keep I keep amending it, thinking like, okay, now this is going to be a good start time for everybody. But this, 2 p.m. just seemed like it wasn't quite late enough for some parts of the world. Or it was still like 7 in the morning, and yeah, I just thought maybe start a little bit later to include more people and broader horizons, right? Did anybody else pay attention to the fact that Ronnie Watts was showing the officers and the FBI agents the video of his wife Cindy playing with the grandchildren, like kind of trying to prove, see, we love them. You see, I don't know what that was all about, but that was very weird. I think that, with the fact that Chris shut her phone off and sort of hid that, I think that he was honestly trying to buy himself some time to cover up what he had done. And had Nichol not come around as soon as she did, I don't think, this would have been solved as quickly as it was. I think Nichol Kessinger was there, but that's a complete guess because there is nothing in the evidentiary disclosure document to state that she was there. But it's possible. Like I don't doubt that. We didn't have hardly any technology when Scott Peterson killed Lacey. Amber Fry wouldn't have had access to search him like Nicole did. I think we had pretty good technology when all of that happened, Tammy. That wasn't that long ago. It wasn't like it was in the 90s. I can't remember when that crime exactly happened. And so I'm going to go and Google search it. Okay. See, he was convicted in 2004. So I believe that it was a completely different, mentality way of thinking about it, and that she could have done searches and she could have been malicious, but that wasn't her personality and who she was. But I don't know if we can say the same thing about Nicole based on what we see from how she reacted, finding out that Chris Watts's family was gone. She knew that he had a family. Everyone needs a best friend like Shanann had, Nicole. No kidding. Yes, no kidding. Somebody who cares that much to like light a fire under so many different people's arses to be like, check this out. Seriously, she's not around. I really, really, I think something's wrong. And I mean, I think that people had their suspicion that something was wrong from very early on in the morning, and by lunch it was so adamantly important to do something about it because it had been that many more hours since anyone had heard from her. I mean, let's face it, the first thing that Shanann did when she got up was get on that phone and get on the technology, right? So it was very obvious that something was wrong with her and she was missing from very early on. Even Shanann's mom was calling the school to see if she had been there by chance to drop the girls off. She understood if her daughter didn't want to talk to her, she was like, that's fine, just don't tell them that I've called. I just want to make sure that they're there and somebody's dropped them off. Like, you've seen her at some point, even just in a glimpse. Like, fine if she doesn't want to talk to me and she's not answering her phone, if she's not responding to my text messages, but I just want to know that, you've seen her, somebody's seen her. And even the school at that point had verified, no, nobody had seen her. The girls were not there. And I think that that carried into, more adamant importance. You heard Tammy Tracy says she heard on HLN that the pic he took of some fellows and sent to Nicole were taken at the 319 site after he buried them. I didn't see or hear that. Chris did send pictures sort of sporadically to Nicole. Like, there's a sunflower he sent to her. Nicole really likes flowers and stuff like that. That's something she has a lot on her profile, I guess. And you can tell that Chris was definitely thinking about her because, he would take a picture of a flower in the middle of a prairie field, just for her kind of thing. So why was she Googling Shanann in September? Because she knew that the guy was married. She knew what she was doing. And I'm sure she knew that it was wrong, but whatever, to each their own. I'm not here to judge that. I just feel like if she hadn't have presented herself in Chris Watts's life, he may never have turned away from his marriage and he would have still been working on things with Shanann. Like, I feel her temptation of a better life with her, is what sort of led Chris to think that this was a good way to go or something. Like, this was the way to deal with his issues. But I think that's a whole lot of garbage, personally. And he's forever going to be inmate 360519 now. Like, that's his phone number and that's his name, that's who he is. Like, he's just forever going to be asking for permission to flush his toilet and get a book and have a shower and never have a choice in what he wants to eat or anything. I mean, I wonder if he feels that this was all still worth it, because I can't picture anybody thinking that this is the life that they want. Cam says, do you think they just started to date in June of this year? No, I don't. I actually think that they had pleasant, cordial conversations all throughout his employment, to be honest with you. He started there in 2015, you know? Does anyone know the details of the plea deal? Yes, I do know the details of the plea deal, Nina. The plea deal was put in front of him after being presented to the Ruzick family. It was the Ruzick family's choice as to whether or not they wanted to go for life without parole or if they wanted to. In the middle of your talk, my daughter called. That's fine, Lloyd. Um, I wish I hadn't just gotten sidetracked there. I hate that sometimes because I lose my own train of thought. So the plea deal that had happened. Sorry, guys, seriously, brain fart. Anyways, it was the Ruzik's family's choice to go for life without parole or to go for the death penalty. But the death penalty in Colorado, if you research it, they have only in the entire history of the state ever put to death one person. One person in the state of Colorado has ever been put to death in the history of the state. And I'm not for the death penalty, you guys. In Canada, we don't even have it. I don't know, whatever. To each their own, maybe certain cases, but we just don't have it here as an option. So for us, it is life without parole or life with parole kind of thing, like, or a certain amount of sentencing with parole. But like the death penalty, it's such a long process to get through it and could continuously have to relive the events that happened in order to maintain showing proof for having wanting the desire to introduce that and enforce that to somebody. The death penalty is no picnic or light, hearings. Like it's a process that usually spans for many years, and I think the Ruzick family just didn't want to have to deal with that. So them stating life without parole was good. They put that in front of Chris Watts and said, here's all the evidence that we have against you, so either you plead guilty to these 9 kind of counts of charges. 3 were murder, 3 were tampering. You plead guilty to all of this, and we will take the death penalty off the table, and you will just be in prison for life without parole. And Chris Watts agreed to take that, and then that at that point sort of erased having a trial because he was stating that he was guilty of the charge. So if you folks are enjoying the conversation with me, you can hit the like button as a thumbs up as a support. That would be great. And then, I also wanted to talk about the fact that his polygraph showed deception from the beginning. We didn't know that he had given Chris a polygraph literally like the second day that he was in there for interrogation. They were already asking him, can you please, take a polygraph? And he was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And he gets up there and he does the polygraph kind of thing, and he failed. Like he failed and showed deception in many areas. So what can you really chalk up as far as, like, obviously you're guilty of something that you don't want to state out loud. And I think the officers knew that from very early on. It was pretty well told to him, like, I don't believe you. Now my other huge question, you guys, is what the heck is in the Thrive stuff? Because Shanann's toxicologist report shows a lot of different things in her system that I don't think she would have ever consumed, knowing, that that's what some of that stuff was. I wish that they would have released the information on the forensic testing on that stuff, but I have a feeling we're never going to get that information because, the company is still selling products, and it would sort of go against their company and possibly create so that people don't want to take their products because they're going to learn what's in them. Now, how can I figure out what's in these products? Good question. And something I'm looking into. If I can actually figure out or pay for some forensic testing to be done on the products that I have, maybe that would help me sort of put together why this toxicologist report and, some of these things are in her system. So, like I personally have done drug tests before, you guys. I've done them through the hair, and there's no fooling hair, just like there's no fooling blood. You can fool with urine, you can sort of wash your system out and stuff, but you know on a personal note, like this is a listing of my toxicology, my drug breakdown. And if any of that was in my system, it would have to show somewhere in here, that some of this stuff was in my system if I had actually consumed it. So, what is in these products that have sort of changed, for this to happen? And what was she actually consuming is what I'm questioning. Sorry, I'm going to try to answer a few questions now. What didn't want to take the stand? Dare to be different at trial, and to have secrets exposed. Yes, he chose to not even talk to the courts. His only two words the entire process was no sir when the judge asked him if he wanted to address the court. You know, and he asked him if he understood everything, and he said he did. So, Elena, I like crack. I tried it. Never again. You're hilarious. It's like crack. Oh, you're saying it's like crack. Jeez whiz. I just think that we've all been there, done that with, bad choices in our life. I just don't think that that was the case with Shanann. Um, had we had even 1/10 of the info they just put out there, wouldn't have been any speculation on who killed the family. I agree with you. However, the prosecution was making very certain there was no way that this case would be tainted, in a sense that get thrown out because something was jeopardized, because Chris was owed, in his constitutional right, the fair trial process. And if that would have been tainted, you guys, he very well could have been set free to carry on living a free life with Nichol Kessinger. So they had to be very careful about what they sort of gave out and when, right? You do. Mary says she does hope that something on Nichol, if she knew or more or whatever. They're never going to be able to go after her because of the immunity that she has. So, we're just going to have to forget about that. But at the same time, I hope that other men that are out there know who this woman is, because I don't know if she's going to go for a single guy again, or if she's going to go for somebody married and ruin another family. That's just brutal. She did keep him intrigued. They were having sex like 4 to 5 times a day. Deborah Johnson, I thought I heard that the plea deal, he had to give more info on what exactly happened. No, he just had to plead guilty, which he did. It's very odd that he searched volcanoes and saved photos of them erupting. Wonder what that's all about. I don't know. Probably something mentally, like that he's relaxed by watching something like that. I have no idea. I don't know if we'll fully be able to understand the reasons why Chris did what he did, because we're normal. Like we it's hard to wrap our head around this. Hi, Tammy. Are you on both? You came to Facebook and to YouTube. That's cute. I do put it on both just because it's easier to stream them at the same time. So that's cute. You're checking me out on both. Chris is a coward, Magnum. And it's odd that he's actually already spending time in um, general population, and he has been for a while. There's a few inmates that are on the list to keep away from Chris Watts due to them having connection with the Ruzick family. So, it's what I mean is that Nichol Kessinger is not going to be prosecuted for anything. They're not going to go after her for anything. They've already stated that she has done her part in this, and because she came forward with the information that she came forward with, nothing's going to be used against her to charge her. I heard, I wish that Shanann would have stayed in North Carolina. There was messages from her that she was feeling weak when she was there, that, things didn't seem right to her. I wish that she would have just listened to that inner feeling, inner voice then. But I mean, it's, hindsight's 2020, like really. That's so cute. You have the same name, DJ and Deborah Johnson. Pamela is saying that she's pretty sure no immunity. Well, from that's not what I have heard. And then Dare to Be Different, you're trying to show um, like information stuff that's ingredients in the Thrive product, which that's exactly what I was meaning. But some of these things that are in the proprietary blend and other ingredients, because there is more down here. These are just like the ones that are common that people know, right? So there's more in here, and I wonder what some of these things really are, because there is things in the system that really shouldn't be in the system, and doesn't make any sense as to why it was there. It baffles Anthony says it baffles me why he did do this if he wanted a life outside the marriage. Yeah, he has ruined a lot of lives, including his. Exactly. I wonder if he's sitting there thinking about it at all too. Like, it makes no sense. I don't know if the Thrive stuff is all necessarily vitamins and all on the up and up, you guys. Why would the FBI want to take samples for forensic testing? That doesn't make any sense. There's a reason why they wanted to test some of those products. And I chalk that up and line it up with the toxicology report, because some of those things were even in the children, you guys. So it doesn't make sense. Like, there's got to be some things that are maybe not on the up and up in these Thrive products. But I wonder if it's possible to pay, to get that tested myself, to get a rundown or a list of what it says. If that's something that you guys would like me to do, definitely, support that in sending the donations towards the channel so that I can pay for something like that. That would be fantastic. I think it would give us a lot of answers. I know the video online of the interview with Nichol Kessinger ends before it is over. Yeah, you know what? Her full interview is out there, you guys, and there's pieces of Chris Watts's interview that it's been put out there as well. If you haven't seen it, I do have it on my phone, but I didn't bring it for this. I've already gotten up and left you guys twice. I don't want to walk away from the camera again in the first 35 minutes. Yes, Chris wore 2 to 3 patches at a time. I would imagine that he's going through some sort of withdrawal with that for sure. Too much vitamins is not good, but too much vitamins does not produce cocaine in your system. So, like, let's really, really break it down for what it is. Somebody must have had to ingest that in order for that to be in the system. I don't understand. Miracle products just like that, eating fresh food and fiber is always the best thing you can do no matter what. your affliction, Magnum says. I guess that's true, and it depends what you're taking and if you know exactly what it is that you're taking, right? But Thrive has all these warnings and everything all over their products and stuff. So he's worse than OJ, Donna says. Yeah, no kidding. Honestly. It's sad that Watts would have been okay with aborting the pregnancy, sort of after she gets pregnant and they decide to plan this third child. He decides to backtrack and he's trying to tell her, like, if you wanted to abort it, I would be okay with that. Like, holy cow, buddy, seriously. Robin, I really don't want to discuss it too much, to be honest with you. If you want to go over and look through the toxicology report to gather your own thoughts on it, feel free. But I kind of refuse to discuss a lot of that because I don't really have any analogy to compare it to. Um, Scott Reich, he specifically says that he's got a ton of autopsy reports that he can pull out that don't have the BAC alcohol level that Shanann has. And he's adamant that she probably had a drink. We don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody saw her drinking. None of her friends seen her do anything like that. But could that have been something that she hid? I have no idea. Could that have been something that was in her water bottle lightly? I don't know. Would any of her friends have taken her bottle to smell? Probably not. Like, so have we any way to prove that? No. That's my bottom line to it. So what can you really do about it other than read the information, take up for your own opinion about it, and that's it, right? You can't even compare it with anybody or anything. So it is what it is. I'd also like to what woman called the school twice? It was Shanann's mom that called the school twice. And the first time that she called, she had said, "Don't tell her that I called. I'm just calling to see that she made it to the school to drop them off." And the FBI did state that Shanann had not had one sip of alcohol. But Scott Reich is still very convinced that with a BAC in her system or something, that is what it is. And I don't know. I'm no medical forensic expert. I don't know much about it. So I refuse to sort of branch into it due to not having anything to compare it to. You don't have access to any info on this case. The link is on my channel like 20 times, you guys. I'm not sure why anybody would come and say that they can't find it because it's on there like 20 times. So you should be able to find it. Okay, Robin. What about all her health challenges? You know what? I'm not sure that she necessarily had lupus the way that she had. I think that she was possibly misdiagnosed with something else, because other women who have lupus literally like tell me it attacks your body and you cannot get pregnant. So like it literally attacks the fetus and expels it, and you can't, the body won't allow it. So Shanann maybe had like the very, very least form of it or something, or she was, misdiagnosed. Deborah, I'm trying to find her comment because somebody said good point. Oh yes, yeah, it was her mom that called twice, you guys, and it states that in the document. She called the first time in the morning just to see if her daughter had shown up at the school with the girls. And she told the secretary, like, don't tell her that I called. And then she called later again to see if she had been there yet. And she still hadn't. Excuse me. Not too good for the baby, but at that point, she must have been so sad with Chris. Lahena, yeah, I really don't know. Like, it's just it's a very confusing piece for me because of my own experience with testing and having something in my system versus not. to what that report showed, and it showed like a little bit of a lot of different things, a lot. I honestly am not here to judge Clary T, her name is. I really, it doesn't matter to me either way what she was doing with her body because it's her choice. All of it is her choice. So, who am I to sit here and judge her at all? I've made my own damn mistakes. I've had my own pregnancies, like I've made my own errors and my own judgment calls and my own things to deal with. So, it's really not my choice to say anything. I like the North Korea, aka Nichol Kessinger. That's really, really fitting for her, Made the statement I could use a drink. You haven't had a drink in 15 years. That's okay, Catherine. To each their own, I say. Do you remember the district attorney saying on national TV that the alcohol in her body was due to decomposition? Yes, and there is a form of decomposition that does create for that to happen. I also did some research on that. But I was a little bit shocked to thanks Tammy for sharing the link. If that person is still here that was asking for the link, it's already up in this chat. The last live that we did, it was put in at least half a dozen times. So uh, yeah, lots to reflect on and lots to take in and lots to have to just process. Like, it is how you learn life lessons, Ellen. You are 100% correct. 3 calls to the school. 2 of those calls would have been uh, Shanann's mom, Sandra, and the other call was Chris. Oh, it was more for another commenter. Oh, sorry, Clarity. Hi, Holly. How are ya? You made it. I'm glad that everybody could make it today. I think that this will finally like be our time, so 3 to 5 type of thing to jump on live and just chat randomly about whatever's happening. The Turpin case is going to take a while to get going, and the Chris Watts case is done. So I don't really think that we really need to talk about him too much more unless something crazy happens to him in jail or he does something to himself. I really see this as being the sort of last time we really talk about this case. Chris called once, the woman called 3 times. Um, I'm going to say I absolutely don't know about that. I do know about the 2 calls that Sandra made and the 1 call that Chris made. So, and if there's any other cases that you guys want me to look into or follow because it's hit the news in your area, I don't necessarily get every single case, hit my news stations on my end. And I do watch the American news stations as well, but I don't always catch everything that's happened. So, if there's a case that you'd like me to follow, please, pop that into a message for me. Thank you, Timothy. And if you're enjoying the conversation with me, you enjoy spending time with me, you can hit that like button. It's possible, that somebody could have gotten Chris Watts off. Who knows? But I think that once you plead guilty to something, you fess up. So, you know, he not only confessed once, he confessed twice. He may not have been completely honest about the exact events of what happened, but he certainly confessed at doing this. So in the report, the receptionist who took the calls documented all 4 calls. Okay. Well, I definitely missed one of those. I probably skimmed over it. It was something that wasn't pertinent information, and I just sort of let it go to the wayside. Hi, Kara. Thanks for watching. Glad to have you join. Welcome, welcome. I very much appreciate everybody's support. If you enjoy spending time with me, you can subscribe. I do this twice weekly, Tuesdays and Saturdays, just sort of touching base with you as my viewers to spend time together, just to chat in general about whatever sort of is happening around the world that a lot of people are interested in, you know? The picture of the doll is brutal. I mean, he honestly was sending her a warning sign that something bad was going to happen. That was pretty obvious, sadly. And it's too bad that she didn't recognize that and maybe like push him for what the heck is this? What the heck did you send me? But you saw where he confessed to killing her, but haven't seen where he confessed to killing the babies. He literally describes where he put them in the interrogation room that's on camera. That's been released if you haven't seen it. It was very repetitive, yes, because they got the same interview from how many different people, right? So, you know, there was like how many officers that were involved, first off showing up at the house with their body cam, right? There was at least 4 officers there, and then however many it got passed, the case got passed on to, the investigation got passed on to, all the people that put in their notes in regards to watching the house or any little bit of evidence, it all had to be described again, you know? Hi, Deborah. How are you? Maybe if Shanann's dad or Frankie saw the doll picture, this would have turned out differently. That's very possible because they may have decided to go and take the girls away from him, right? I mean, and you know, I honestly feel like he smothered them like around after dinner. Like he had no pictures to send Shanann by 7 p.m. when she was asking to see pictures of them going to bed. He was sending her pictures of them having dinner and at the pool party earlier that day, kind of thing. Catherine says, but they do not know where they are going to send him somewhere else. They've moved him like 4 times already. I was shocked to see that he had been sitting and enjoying canteen in general population because with the crimes that he's committed, I wonder if general population was outside or something. Like I don't understand how he was sitting in general population. In the discovery, his coworker described Chris Watts' old clothes and his black boots, no ties, and fire retardant pants. Chris Watts changed to boots during loading in security video. I think he planned on torching site. Hey, that's very possible. I think that the fire that broke out at that exact site probably was due to some of those chemicals. And the pictures of their bodies are coming out soon. Be cautious if you can't stand seeing expired bodies. Please do not open link when it comes out. Just a warning. Thank you, Sherry Ann. Beautifully broken. Appreciate the warning. That's really kind of you. There's a couple of people that are on the inmate list to keep away from Chris Watts as he is, they are a danger to him. Like they're somebody that knows the music family and would probably, well, kick his ass or kill him. You know, I'm not sure, but they kind of have a duty to protect him in prison as well. So I don't know if anything will happen to him, you know? Hi, Fred, you made it. Hi, Gilbert. And not to mention the fact that they were in the oil for 2 days, you guys. As far as I know, Nichol Kessinger deleted her social media stuff after all of this came to light. But she may have just went under a different name and has different pictures up and changed her look, right? That's probably more the plausible route that she took. I don't see her as being somebody that's not able to be on social media. Some people just can't live without it, you know. I use it to share my stories to get the views and things like that, right? For all of you that think that I've collected any money off of this channel, you're wrong. I have not collected any money off of this channel. Everything is still waiting. So, you know, literally to this date, it's still waiting. So, you know, I just thought I'd share that. Don't trust her, Lahaina is saying. For you're talking about Nichol Kessinger, yeah. Vincina is saying, I think when he sent that shroud picture, he was criminally thinking at that point in time. I think you are absolutely right. North Korea. I do North Korea like a K because North Korea is a really dangerous type of a place, and I see her as a really dangerous type of woman. The merch store is up and running. Um, I can share the link with you guys. I think there's only 5 products for sale right now, but it is a coffee mug, a tote bag, a tank top, a t-shirt, or a long sleeve shirt. So 5 products. You love my laugh? Thanks, Ellen. I'm trying to be so careful and cautious about when I smile and things like that now because people thought I was laughing about this whole case and stuff. And I really, really wasn't. And I would never laugh about this case. So if he smothered the girls right after dinner, then why didn't Shanann have any signs of putting up a fight when he attacked her? I mean, she would have checked the girls when she arrived home, right? I don't know if she would have checked the girls when she arrived home. From what I read, they are really, really sensitive sleepers. So it's possible that she just came home and kind of went straight to bed because it was 2 o'clock in the morning and she was probably exhausted and knew that she was only going to have a few hours. You know, she had already asked her husband to wake her up at, you know, when he woke up at 4 in the morning, so she knew she had a couple of hours. It's very possible that she came through the house trusting everything was fine and just, you know, threw her body into sleep mode and didn't realize, you know, she may not have checked them at 2 in the morning, right? I mean, you have to think about it in the sense that she trusted Chris. She trusted that he was doing things the way she would have been doing things. And why would she need to check on them? She, you know, she was just home and she only had a couple of hours to get some shut eye. And, you know, I'm sure that thanks, Deborah, for the encouragement. Silly people smile, Sherry. Yeah, you know, honestly, I would never mix those two together. I don't think that the situation was funny at all. So you do not like Scott Reich? He is always saying Chris Watts should not have pled guilty. Oh, really? Well, to each their own, I say. If that's what he wants to think, that's fine. I I was really confused at the fact that Ask Go Lightly really that woman hated Shanann when she was first making videos about her. And then she switched her tune like really quick. I think that people got upset with her, you know, telling her you shouldn't be bashing a dead woman. Like, what the hell is wrong with you, kind of thing. And now she's switched her tune. She started to be nice to me. She said that we could share the person that she was talking to about the toxicology report. And then she completely backed off of that and chose not to communicate with me. And I heard that she bashed me on her channel or something. And I was, you know, I don't know, like I have a lot of class and I really have no desire in any way to bash anybody. But I find it interesting that she didn't like Shanann so much. And then, you know, she made videos stating what a bitch she thought she was. And then all of a sudden, Ask Go Lightly is hating on Chris Watts. And I'm like, oh, like I had unsubscribed from her when I saw those videos from her because I never viewed Shanann in that way. I kind of seen a little bit of myself in her. I see how I act with men sometimes in her, and I, you know, was seeing myself, you know. So I honestly was really confused when all of a sudden I logged into Ask Go Lightly's channel again, and there she was, loving Shanann and hating Chris Watts. And I was like, well, that's really weird. I mean, I'm glad she changed her mind. That's great. But that's kind of contradicting to what she was originally putting out. And then she quickly deleted those videos just to backtrack and not have the world hating on her. Like, be yourself. If you don't like the woman, that's okay to say that, I guess. That's your opinion. But to start off one way and then completely switch lanes into a completely another route, it doesn't make any sense to me. But hey, to each their own. I mean, it's yeah, like I'm glad that she changed her mind. I never swayed. I always stayed neutral, and I saw a lot of myself in Shanann, and I thought that, you know what, like, she doesn't deserve to be mistreated because she was such a strong individual. She knew what she wanted, and she was a go-getter, and she wasn't going to take any shit along the way, and everything was going to be her way or hit the road highway. I can relate. I don't know. I don't know. So I was really, really confused. But regardless, whatever, I'm not sure exactly what she bashed me about. Because like I said, she started to be nice to me. She even made a comment on one of her lives when I had asked her what she thought about the toxicology report. And like I had a call into my coroner and I was trying to get some information. And she was like, yeah, I have a person I'm talking to. We can share them. And then she just completely backed off of being nice to me for some reason. I don't get it. Like, I think she views us as in competition. I see us women as, spreading awareness as a powerhouse. I see us united in a sense. So I'm confused. I was confused as to why that happened the way that it did, but to each their own. Yeah, I don't understand people either sometimes these days, but to each their own again. I don't know what else to say sometimes, like people are well within their rights to think and feel whatever they want about anybody that they want. So, but to not be honest and real about who you are and what you think, that to me is fake. Like, what's the point in that? Like, I don't get that. Now she says she said it rubbed off. Oh, is that what she said? Okay. Well, whatever. I don't know. After covering the case, Golightly started to realize that Shanann was real. It started to become real to her. She was crying about, I don't know, were those real tears? Because I saw her try to get upset and stuff, and it looked a little forced. I don't know. Now Ask Golightly is trying to help the Ruziks. I would help the Ruziks from the get-go. When you guys said that some of you had sent a card to them, I was kicking myself for having not even thought of that. I was like, oh my gosh, like I grabbed a card and I started to write them. Like, I hope that they see that as encouragement. Hi, James. Because I honestly see myself in their daughter, and I don't think that she deserved any of this. And, all because she was a strong individual. I'm a strong individual. Does that mean that I deserve something like this to happen? Watch, there's some people out there that are probably thinking psychotically, like, yeah. Like, oh my gosh. But some people probably think she's full of it. You subbed and then unsubbed. I subbed, and then when I saw she wasn't really being honestly nice to me, I unsubbed again. But there's a lot of people that really do like her, and her channel has flourished. I had first subbed to her when she was only at like 5,000, and she's at like 15,000 now. So, she's clearly doing a good thing on her channel as well. Although she does have the recognition from having some TV fame, being in that show, Wife Swap, I think it was. So I don't have any fame. I've never been on a TV show. I'm just a Canadian gal trying to spread awareness on, crimes and issues that are happening around the world. And I feel like if it helps one person that looks at my video and sees something in their own life that compares and takes themselves out of that situation and it saves someone, that then I've done a really good thing here. So I'm okay with that. She doesn't seem like a bad person. No, she doesn't seem like a bad person at all, Laura. I totally agree with you. But Shanann's mom did not know she was missing yet, did she? No, but I'm sure that she had a feeling that something was wrong. In as a motherly gut instinct, I think that she felt something was wrong. Go Lightly has a good heart, and this really affected her. Tracy says. Well, and that's nice to hear. Like I said, it switched lanes so um, drastically that I was, confused as a viewer. So haven't heard her bashing you. Somebody messaged me, Tiff P323. Somebody messaged me and said that she had said something about me on her channel. So she is different from me, Sherry. Not better. Absolutely different. No, neither one of us is better than the other. And I'm not trying to say that at all. I was just very confused because when I had first watched her, she was very hating Shanann. And then all of a sudden I clicked back in one day and heard her loving and hating Chris. And I was like, what happened? You like both of us ladies? Thanks, Laura. I see us as a unity. Women putting forward, spreading awareness and on their channels. I see that as unity, in my opinion. It's negativity on Sherry's fabulous channel. Aw, thanks, Natalie. You didn't see what in the discovery cam? Sherry, I think it's difficult and negative feedback that made Go Lightly change her tune. Oh, okay, Deborah. Well, whatever it was. And Emily E says, do you think Chris was pretending, faking the love for his girls? Watching the home videos, it seems like he loved them, yet that was just something he learned. I think that the girls were probably quickly learning the way that Shanann was probably treating Chris and doing the same thing to him, and he probably got super overwhelmed and frustrated because not only was he not dealing with how, Shanann sometimes spoke to him, he wasn't even admitting that there was something kind of wrong with that. And then next thing, probably his girls doing it, it might have been like the straw that broke the camel's back. We are also entitled to change opinions, I believe. Maybe at first she went with those videos trying to pin Shanann as a bad person, but as she dug deeper into the case, she changed her mind. Yes, that's very possible, Tiff. Very possible. I'm famous to you, Carol. Aw, that's so cute. Aw, that's sweet. I don't really see myself as famous. I just see myself as doing a really good thing, spreading the awareness on my channel and wanting to branch that into more missing people to help people out there. I feel like, maybe that's what I'm here to do in this world, on this earth, is to help people, other people that I don't even know from around the world. So and I think it's a good thing. So I feel good about it in my heart. It makes me warm and fuzzy. So I know that it's a good thing. Bella seems so distant, bless her, as if she felt something wasn't right. Annie, see, I totally agree. And I feel that you're probably right. But because she was a child, she was forced to sort of sit under his care, and deal with that no matter what it was that was going to happen. And it is pretty sad and scary how much she fought for her life. It's just heartbreaking to know that he did that. I don't think that he was pretending to love his girls. I think that he probably got frustrated and upset, and everything all at once, all together. This is what the outcome ended up being, unfortunately. I'm just Sherry. Aurora Sun, right, exactly. I'm intrigued about this toxicology. Did not know they found cocaine in her body. Where is this info? I only heard about the BAC. There's a lot more there, Tiff. You'll have to go into the document to sort of look at it for yourself and make up your own mind. I believe it's in and around the 882 page for a good 20 pages, 30 pages or something like that. So I don't think he faked his love for his girls. No, I don't think so either. Chris did not know how to set boundaries. Poor communicator. Absolutely. Love smart women with lots to say, such as yourself. Well, thank you. Yes, the babies were distant from their father at the end because they didn't even want to be around. They, when they were here at Myrtle Beach, yeah, he was very distant. Shanann was very much more the hands-on, but I think that she taught Chris how to do that the way she wanted it to be done. And then she just trusted that he was submissively listening to that. Meanwhile, he was bottling things up and getting ready to explode. You know, I honestly hope that there's some men out there that are maybe in this type of predicament, that they're not liking the way that their partner's talking to them, and they're taking this as like, wow, if this guy could be pushed this far to do something like that when he looks so normal, anybody's capable, kind of thing. And you should deal with things that are bothering you, because if you don't, it's just going to build up and it's going to create for something probably awfully huge to happen. Awful and huge. What about the Metallica song? Yeah, I don't know about that. Do you think he regrets it? I would like to think that he does, but many people have told me that that's impossible for him to feel. And the fact that he's researching and googling when to say I love you and how to react when somebody says I love you just tells me that the guy didn't really have much of a heart. He was kind of like a foe and pretending like all along. But he was really good at it, you guys. I'm concerned about the autopsy report where it says Bella had oil in her lungs. This me if she was already dead. No, like as I did not read that she had any oil in her lungs. I read that they did have some things in their system that I believe could have been from some of those Thrive products. That's my own personal guess, and that's only because one, there wasn't any proof to show me what the heck is actually in these products from the forensic tests, and two, these girls had some things in their system that I don't think they actually took. So you know it's very, very confusing piece for me. He's gonna wish he got the death penalty by the time the guys are done with him in jail. Yeah, James, we'll see, right? The authorities have to protect him too, you know? So we will see. Came an obsession. Chris's mom was known. There is a statement that says that Chris's parents did not appreciate him when he lived at home. When Shanann met him, that's what she witnessed, and she feels that she made him feel a lot more appreciated, valued, and important. It stems back to his mother and upbringing. Deborah says, "You think he regrets getting caught?" Hey, Sherry. Yeah, there may have been some oil inside of her mouth because, she was already deceased, but it wouldn't have been inside her system because she would have had to have already been, she'd have to be breathing, you guys. So that's not possible. But if she was face down in the oil, it would be in her mouth. That's the only thing that it would have been in. It wouldn't have been in her lungs. And it wasn't in her lungs. Like I saw her report. The harmony, I have heard that too, but I'm not sure that that's an exact scientific fact. It is an autopsy report in their stomachs as well. You guys, I'm literally gonna go and friggin' open it because of what you're saying. I'm pretty darn sure that somebody else is misreading this. Now we've got dead air because I'm concentrating on doing something, for crying out loud. This is probably the worst timing ever to do this on a live, but I'm pretty sure that that was not the case, that there was not oil in their stomach and lungs. Because like I said, they'd have to be alive for that to have happened, and they were not. It takes so long to get through to the right page. Yeah, of course it's going to give me issues in searching for this right now. I'm not going to be able to search for this right now while you guys are all sitting here. And you know what, like, I can feel it. I can feel it in my body, you guys, that the law enforcement, the Ruzick family, and everybody and anybody who wants to start hating on somebody who's going to be hating on whatever, lifestyle choices Shanann made, I can feel it that they're watching and waiting for somebody to say and do the wrong thing. And then they're going to try to jump all over that person. So, I'm not willing to put myself in that type of a situation. I can see my viewers even raise as soon as we start talking about it. All of a sudden, like 15 more people jump on just to hear what I have to say about it. You know what I mean? I'm not willing to put my channel at risk. I'm not willing to, get a strike. I'm not willing. This information is out there and all of you guys can get up there and read it. It just takes time for you to do it. So rather than jeopardize myself and what I'm doing on my channel to be a good thing, I refuse to backtrack and, be the one to verbally show you guys where it is. And I'm being stern with this because I strictly believe that some people are trying to get me to do this in order for my channel to fail and in order for me to get into trouble. And I just refuse for that to happen. So, you guys all have access to it. Go and find it. Go read it. But I'm telling you that I know what I saw, and I'm not going to turn around and search for the damn page and the damn thing every time somebody doesn't believe me. Either you choose to believe me or you don't. That's your choice. Everybody's entitled to that. I don't know what else to say, but I feel like you guys pushing and pressuring. Where is that? Where was that? I don't believe you. Could you show me where that was? It's like, seriously? You guys all have the, access just like I do, So, I'm going to leave it at that, because everybody has access to that. And I'm not going to talk about it anymore because everybody makes their own choices, including me. And I haven't always made the good ones, you guys. So I'm not going to be that one that's going to point out the bad ones that she's made. Who the hell am I to do that? Like, really? Oh, yeah. There's my rant for the day. But seriously, it's the truth. It's out there for you. If you want to know what the hell happened, read it, So I will get into trouble for, saying some of these things out loud. And I don't wish to defame. I don't need like a defamation character charge or some crap, somebody coming after me physically because I've said something they don't want me to say. So we're going to leave it at that because that's respectful for the people who have passed away. And it's respectful for the people who are still grieving about those people who have passed away. People should take the time to read it. In all honesty, they should. Or if they're not going to, don't question the people who have actually read it and can tell you, yes, I saw that for 100% fact with my own eyes. I read it, like questioning that at that point is like, seriously, it's like a slap in the face. Like, of course I read it. No, I wouldn't make it up. I wouldn't look at something and read it and then make something up out of that. That's stupid. So, no, I haven't done anything wrong. But yes, I find that, people just are circling around this like vultures waiting to attack. And it's like, get lost. Everybody makes their own choices and they may not have been the very best of ones, but they were her choice to fucking make, just like it's mine. So, you know what? All of you guys can choose to believe me or not. That's your choice. You called his phone number. You got me to call his phone number, I remember, for crying out loud. I was like, oh my gosh. I couldn't believe it when I heard the voice. Yeah, this is Chris. You leave a message. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought it was your number. Yes, read it. It's very jaw dropping. Jaw dropping. Can't talk properly. But seriously, it's worth the read. So 1,960 pages. And now it's up here. I think this is the third time that the link has been posted in just today's live, not including any of the other comments I responded and let other people have the link. And, yeah. So it is what it is. You're going to have to go and read it for yourself. But and especially if you're choosing to not believe me, you know what I mean? I have no interest in making something up or lying or whatever. And I have no interest in trying to bring the Ruzic family any additional pain and grievance. So I'm very careful about what I'm saying for a good goddamn reason. But, I appreciate the people who do tune in and they believe me, because I honestly, my laptop squirrels has my YouTube live streaming, and this one has my Facebook live streaming. So 2 live streams in one kind of thing. But the link has been put up, a good 3 times for you guys to read into it. For those of you that tune in and you trust what I say because I've read it and I'm being honest, I have integrity and good work ethic, great. But for those of you that are going to clue in, key in, and say, hey, prove it, like, no, thank you. I have no interest in wasting my time to have to go back over the entire freaking document, wean through and find something. Like, it was bad enough that I did that when someone didn't believe me about the premeditated, that he thought about doing this on Friday when he was offering in the Safeway parking lot with Troy McCoy to go on Monday and do the repair. It was unusual for him to hit a repair first thing in the morning when usually he went to the office first. It was unusual for him to, kind of volunteer to run out there and do that first thing. And he made sure that he was going to be alone. He made sure of that on Friday and said, well, we both don't need to go. And he also made sure of it on Sunday. So he had clearly thought about, what he was going to be doing with his family, where he was going to be burying them. And he needed time. He needed to be alone and he needed time. And that provided it. He thought that through. So there's, what? It's not very many people, Tracy, that don't believe me. It's a few randoms that come in here and there, right? And it's upsetting. It's like, and then they want you to prove it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just such a huge waste of time that I'm trying to get other missing people cases together. And I feel like going over the Chris Watts document 16 times is a complete waste of time. I've already gone through it and I've listed the important factors and stuff like that. Like, I don't see the need to have to go back and mark those pages for someone else to go and look at. Like, you take your own time and you go through it, you go find it, because that's what I had to do. And it took me, close to a week, for crying out loud. Although I did take like a 3-day break because I crammed like for 4 days. So yeah, like a work week, like that's a lot of time to focus on one document for one case, from morning till night. Like, I was on that document. So yes, that doll picture was definite evidence for sure. He was warning her. He was telling her without telling her what he was about to do. He does have the world shook Clary T. You're right about that. But I see this as being the last time we're going to be talking about this now. Unless something heinous or horrible happens to him, there's really no need for us to continue the topic. The disclosure's done. I personally have seen his interview. I think he's a stuttering, stammering idiot, and he's dumb to have lied to the FBI. Like, they knew right away. They knew the first interrogation with him that he was lying. And they were already on top of the GPS coordinates and getting a drone. They had already found the disturbed dirt, the clandestine grave that he had dug. It was already coming together before he even did the first confession, it was coming together. So, and then I've also seen like the Nichol Kessinger. I've seen the photos. I've seen the camera footage from the neighbor. So like I feel like I've covered enough of this now. Like I think we can kind of safely move on to other cases and topics and stuff. I realize that there will be other people that are going to continue talking about this in order to get the views and things like that. But I honestly just don't really have any interest to continue. I don't think there's anything else to really discuss unless there's something that happens, like I said, within the jail system with him. So the clock in the room drowned out Chris Watts. Yeah, TikTok, no kidding, right? The countdown to his being locked up really is how I see that. Sherry's hair and Oliver hair. Oliver looks great. Well, thanks, Tammy. That's sweet of you. I really love Frankie too. Yeah, I wondered how old he was. I'm single for some people. For most, I tell them I'm taken. Don't want to have to deal with the drama that comes with it, to be honest. Nichol Kessinger seems like a bit of a drama queen to me. Yeah, Leah, you're probably right. Definitely probably right. Amanda, I'm a trip. That's funny. Yes, he is such a cutie. I totally agree. I wouldn't be shy if he came to knock on my door. It would be nice to do a one-on-one with him, but also probably really difficult for him to talk about, his sister. So sad, right? Did I see Chris Watts just sitting there when his father was talking about the doll not speaking up? They were talking. They were talking. That's why in the transcript of it, it says inaudible, inaudible, because they were purposely talking so low, murmuring between the two of them to discuss what the heck he was going to use as an excuse. You could tell that Ronnie Watts was very much coaching his son along on the story. Like, it was definitely something that was discussed when he picked him up from the airport, in my opinion, on the ride down to the precinct. So, hey, Laced with Lacey, how are ya? Yes, they were whispering and purposely did some banging noises while they were doing that, while they were talking. I don't know if they were kicking the leg of the table or what they were making that noise with, but they were purposely doing it so that the recording wasn't going to be able to pick up the audible conversation. That's why it says inaudible so many freaking times. Talk about frustrating. That was something that kind of annoyed me, to be honest with you, because they were purposely covering up the fact that they were talking about how to badmouth Shanann and say that this was her doing. Like, come on. I was literally at the camera like, are you like, I was kind of yelling at the camera like, get the fuck out of here. Like, seriously? I don't know. They had to, by law, give them time to talk quietly together, but it was very obviously coached. I appreciate the thumbs up for those of you that enjoy spending some time with me and you've taken a minute to throw out a thumbs up sign. I really appreciate that support. He was for sure coaching him. Yes. The calculator app was something that was really interesting. I was actually going to go and try to find it on my own devices and see what it was kind of like, but if you want to know, read the case file before watching and listening to the audio lies. Yeah, no kidding. The audio lies are all over the place. You're right about that, Ms. White. Very, very true. The doll photo was sent from Chris's phone. His dad knew that camera was there, and Chris had asked if it was going to stay there while he visited with his dad there and talked to his dad. So I think they did pre-discuss it because he went to pick up his dad at the airport before they got down to the precinct. I'm pretty damn sure they would have discussed that in the vehicle while they were alone before they got there. I like me some Frankie. That's cute. That's cute. NK interviewed for 2 hours. She banged while talking about Shanann and didn't mention her name. I feel like that girl is more involved, but they're not going to prosecute her for anything. That's done and over with. So I think that now we just need to watch and see if this girl's going to ruin anyone else's life, you know, and if that'll ever come into the media. Chris was watching videos of his kids in interview room. Like, he's just ridiculous. I don't even understand him at all. At all. Whispering, yes, exactly. But his story about killing Shanann didn't come up until the investigator said it. It didn't come up until his dad said it, you know. Oh, so she did something to them then? That's how where that frickin' came from. Whatever. How do you sleep at night though, is what I want to know. Those are your grandchildren. Like, wow. Whatever. To each their own. Of course they did, and his dad already knew about the affair going on by his words. Yeah, exactly, Clary T. Yes, the investigators gave Chris that narrative. They did actually. They did say, was it an accident? Did something bad happen and it went too far and stuff? They were trying to get him to confess and change his story. You believe the investigators wanted him to say that he killed Shanann so that they can pin one murder on him and the rest would unravel. Did I see the visual video of Nichol Kessinger? Yes, I did see it. Yes. What was his reaction when he watched the video of his kids? His back was turned, so we couldn't really see. They needed to find the bodies. Yes, he sat with the pic of his family in front of him, eating pizza without a single damn. Yeah. His dad moved the picture of the kids, Shanann, our out of the way. Yeah. Cause yeah, it's really unfortunate the way that this whole thing kind of happened, you know? Reverse psychology, you're right, Clary T. I believe, Brandy says, I believe that too, that the investigators helped his dad on what to say. Anyone else think that? You know what? I think his dad was trying to help his son, sadly, you know? And if any of my children did something illegal like that, I wouldn't be trying to help them get out from under it. You'd have to own up and take your punishment because you did the crime, right? Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, is the old saying, right? Am I going to do a story of that Utah teacher shot, killed her ex-husband? Is that the police officer lady that shot somebody or no? Because I wasn't going to cover that one. Interrogated, there was a picture of Bella and Cece right on the table in front of Chris. Yes. They were talking very low and purposely. They were trying to cover what they were trying to say. That's exactly what they were doing. You're here for science because of Chris Watts, Nichol Kessinger body language everyone should learn it. Yes, exactly. And it was very obvious that they were hiding things. Straight from his interviews from before he even got interrogated, it was obvious that Chris was hiding things with his arms crossed the way that they were, right? What I'm very interested to know, Lori says, more about is why the mom was trying so hard to give Cece ice cream with nuts and then placing a bowl of nuts in the arm's reach to get her. No kidding, right? I mean, she already knew, and I think she wasn't taking it very seriously. And like, that's just horrible. As a grandparent, you should take something like that seriously. Even if you've never seen them go into an anaphylactic allergy, if the parent is saying that this is something that has happened and there's an EpiPen, maybe you should be more cautious, you know? And Jamie was the one that would turn around and put a friggin' bowl of nuts on the table. Like, I would have had a fit personally as a parent. I would not have been able to be calm about that and just call somebody to come and pick me up or something like that. No, I would have freaked out, you know? There would have been a ton of yelling and screaming. The kids would have heard it all. Like, the shit would have hit the fan. I'm telling you. I agree. His dad, grandfather could not take his eyes off the kid's picture. Yes, Ms. White. I thought it was a challenge. I thought it was just to challenge Shanann. Oh, Rita, you're answering Lori. Okay. You know what? I honestly would have taken that as a challenge and I would have been brutally upset. And that would have been a showdown. Like, I would not have been able to contain, trying to be civil and stuff. Like I would have been very upset. There would have been a lot of yelling and a lot of screaming and who knows what else. Like she's whiz. Wanted to really create chaos. It's really like she was trying to create chaos and just kind of ignore Shanann as a parent. Like who cares what you're trying to parent or whatever, you know, what you're trying to do, which is quite an insult. But I think we'll wrap this up if nobody has any last minute conversation pieces they'd like to talk about. Very expensive medicine, absolutely. I used to have an EpiPen. I used to have an allergy that I needed one for that, but apparently my body has changed so much that I don't need the EpiPen anymore. I don't have any allergies. Really weird, you know? Like I in my 20s I had an allergic reaction and I ended up needing an EpiPen, and then, in my late 30s apparently was allergic to nothing. So I don't know how that happens, but it happened to me. So true story. I think it's going to be difficult to see the photos of the extraction of the girls and their deceased bodies. That will be difficult to view. You felt so bad for the dog too. Yeah, no kidding. Dieter's with Frankie now. I know. He is like the bestest friend now. My son uses the laptop for a lot in college. There's a few things that kind of make zero sense in the report, but it is what it is. And I don't think we'll ever really get full fledged answers to that unless you can go down to and speak to, you know, law enforcement down in Colorado, or the district attorney for more info. But it has been really, really great chatting with you guys. I appreciate all the thumbs up that you guys have given me for enjoying the time that you've spent with me here chatting. And we will be back again on Tuesday, 3 to 5 Central GMT time. So please do, if you have time and you can pop in and say hi, I'd love to see you and love to chat with you. And, I hope that you guys all have a great rest of the weekend. Stay safe out there. If you get those little inner voices or gut instincts, try to surround yourself with a little bit of protection and before you go into whatever situation that is, to stay safe. And I hope that you guys all have a wonderful rest of the weekend. We'll see you again soon for more true stories with me, Sherry Weens. We'll see you again. Bye for now.